as the players come out of the tunnel. It is a match to make your mouth water. Aston Villa trying to find the formula to make Manchester United look mere mortals. The two clubs have provided two classics already this year. Stand by for something similar. It's after the break.
We're ready. Let's join Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Manchester United champing at the bit to get underway here. In defence, they've been economical and efficient. In attack, there's been a swagger in their step. As a unit, unsurpassed so far. And the chance to reach the halfway mark of their Premiership season, leading the league by 13 points. We've got the usual problem with the Aston Villa away kit, the green and black stripes, in regard to the referee's jersey, which is green, as is that worn by Peter Schmeichel. The referee is Joe Worrell, who's passed the potential colour clash as OK from his point of view. Here's Saunders, Small, Barrett in midfield. Parker. Now Barrett. Cross from Cox. Kai Whittingham trying to ease it on. Villa, who dogged Manchester United's footsteps for so long last season, but they're now 6 wins off the pace. They do feel they've been playing reasonably well despite an indifferent sequence of results. Cox. And Parker. It's a very positive start here from Ron Atkinson and Aston Villa, epitomised there by Gary Parker. United pinned back into their own half, and finally Villa found a shooting position with Parker.
Oh, it's been a great start for Aston Villa, and that's a magnificent strike. I mean, full credit to Schmeichel, to be fair. He's right behind it, but we have to admire the quality of the strike from Gary Parker. And you're right, it's been a very positive start from the visitors.
McGrath with a header. Saunders chasing. Here's Irwin. Oh. Joe Worrell is not going to give any second chances here to Neil Cox, who's surrounded by Manchester United players. Steve Bruce leading the protest.
It's ugly, there's no doubt about that. An ugly tackle from Neil Cox. The United players were incensed by it. He's trying to let the ball run away. Cox has committed himself to a very crude-looking tackle, and no surprise to see Joe Worrell reach for the yellow card.
Joe Worrell refereeing in Manchester for the second time in a matter of 4 days. He was at Main Road for that League Cup replay against Nottingham Forest.
I think Steve Bruce, is just having a word with Joe Worrell about his shot. I think he was just saying to the referee, if you're a defender and that Joe Worrell's ahead of you, and you just glance up, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe receives a few passes today.
Of course, we saw the officials when Villa played at Liverpool recently change to white tops. Well, Mark Bosnich had to keep that one covered. On the subject of referees, he actually told Joe Worrell when the teams went out that he refereed a game in midweek and never wants to do it again, Mark Bosnich. So his appreciation of the difficulties of the officials at this level now is that much greater. Bosnich, of course, formerly of Manchester United. Cox, headed forward by Ince. The pass by Cantona, swept to the left towards Lee Sharp. Sharp, who did such damage in August at Villa Park. And now Manchester United starting to put together one or two things and get some momentum going here. Short free kick.
The wide areas are going to be interesting, Martin, if Manchester United get a bit of pressure, because then there'll be a big onus on people like Whittingham and Saunders to work back down the pitch and help the defenders out. Because there will be gaps for both Irwin and Parker to go into if they desire, with no one really directly against them. But I'm looking at El Barrett, and he's looking around for Eric Cantona all the time. So that certainly looks as if we've got that right, but that can be difficult. We saw Ian Wright destroy. What a great job Des Walker did on him at Highbury in a split second, and Cantona is equally capable of doing the same.
Saunders chasing here and keeping it in, and Whittingham was looking to attack the cross, and there'll be a stoppage here. Villa have an injury. Looks like Gary Parker.
Yeah, got caught. Mark Hughes just caught him when he was clearing the ball.
Well, last season, Ron Atkinson said that if he had one player he could get to turn Villa into a championship-winning side, this was the fella, Roy Keane. Well, of course, he was then being linked with a move to Blackburn Rovers. He eventually ended up here at Manchester United and is opposing one of his greatest admirers today, Ron Atkinson. Down there with his assistant, Jim Barron. Ray Houghton, you saw in the background, who's not involved today. Gary Parker has a place in midfield.
It's always fascinating, isn't it, Martin, when the team sort of tinkers with their tactics to come to Old Trafford, and to see it evolve in front of us here. It really is going to be a fascinating day. You know, will Barrett's job on Cantona be effective? Will Cox and Small be able to handle Sharp and Kanchelskis? You know, will Keane break from midfield? All these sort of questions, and can Villa themselves create anything at the other end?
Am I right, Andy, that when El Barrett marked Ian Wright recently, actually Villa had only 3 other defenders?
That's
here
correct.
Today they've got 4 other defenders.
Yeah, I think that shows you how highly he rates Manchester United. He went in with just with Cox, McGrath and Teal. It was 3 right along the back, and only picked them against Arsenal.
El Barrett right along Cantona there. Richardson, they're so glad to have him back after he damaged his back, straining it, picking up his small children at home. There's a problem many a father will be dealing with over the next few days, I'm sure. Touched on by Keane. This is Kanchelskis on the run. Teal, who fought through his own goal recently in that sort of area against Sheffield Wednesday, making sure there was no suggestion of a slice.
The only problem Manchester United have here is that Andrei Kanchelskis is so quick, he has no one supporting him.
Saunders, knocked away in a hurry by Brian Small. Ince. Oh, he was caught out there by good chasing back from Dalian Atkinson. But there's a real purpose about Villa when they've got the ball. It was certainly the way they played here at the back end of last season. Cox. Barrett's got forward. It was a cross that took out the goalkeeper, but there was no one attacking it, and maybe there was just too much pace on it from Neil Cox.
I think you're probably right. A little bit heavy. The area's right. I don't think there's anything wrong with where Neil Cox is trying to put this ball. And Villa have got plenty players in and around, but no one you see committing themselves to the back post.
Hughes, who scored, of course, in this game last season and got the winner in this particular fixture the year before. Man to keep out of harm's way, as Aston Villa have found. It's a clever ball by Parker, attacked well by Atkinson, who's starting more on on the left-hand side. Parker again. Well, it was flicked on by Neil Cox. Just having a look round to make sure that was true. He's vacated this part of the pitch to do that, but Villa have got plenty of cover. It was a very ambitious move from the young defender.
Well, if there's more of that to come, it can only enhance the quality of the game. People commit themselves forward like that from the back. Well, even Steve Bruce is ahead of the ball now. What's happening here?
Parker, that's Paul Parker, of course. Kanchelskis. Cantona having to turn cleverly, and he was up to the task. Kanchelskis with a cross, sharp coming in. The lad from the West Midlands, of course, was on schoolboy forms with Birmingham City. It certainly marks him down to be the right sort of opponent to Aston Villa. Richardson. Saunders made a good run in that sort of channel, but he's gone a little bit early and he's offside.
Again, it's very close. He does make that run very well, Dean Saunders, because he does what he should do, and he pulls towards the ball. See the ball played there, and you see how close. It's a dangerous tactic that Gary Pallister is looking to do there, because he doesn't know where Dennis Irwin's position is behind him.
Keane. Teal showing him the outside. Keane has to check. There's help there from Kanchelskis. There's Hughes and Sharp in the centre. There's Ince coming from deep here. He is. Paul Parker well forward as well. So it was a very poor ball by the sort of standards we're talking about today.
Well, I'd like to offer the players one or two excuses. You say the wind's probably affecting it, but as you and I know, at pitch level, it's actually remarkably good. So I think just a couple of poor crosses from Kanchelskis and Parker have let down promising Manchester United moves.
Cantona was found by Pallister, and Parker now with another chance to serve it up from the right-hand side. Hughes.
Everyone got ahead of Mark Hughes there. He was desperate for someone who had pulled at the edge of the box to lay it off, but they had all gone ahead of him.
Gary Parker. Waiting for Cox to go outside him, then uses him as a decoy. Flag was up against Dean Saunders. Joe Worrell saw it and then decided to let the game go on. Tackle by Barrett on Cantona was fair enough. Well, it's a real pre-Christmas treat just to be here.
Brilliant. It's always a magnificent place to come, isn't it?
And remember, we're back at Old Trafford next Sunday. Find a gap in your festivities to fit us in. Manchester United against Kenny Dalglish's Blackburn Rovers. Richardson, nicely done. And again, Dalian Atkinson taking up a position where United didn't track him. Saunders working the wide position, something Peter Withe was saying earlier on, that maybe he should be letting others supply the crosses for him.
I think normally he's right, Peter Withe, at the point, but I think today he's going to have to work the wide areas with the formation that Ron's picked.
Certainly battling hard there. And took Whittingham by surprise. Oh, Kanchelskis, Bostic has started to come, he's totally committed. He can't make any contact. Cantona's in the centre, but the ball isn't. A huge relief for all connected with Aston Villa, especially their goalkeeper.
Well, I can't believe, I don't know what Mark Bosnich was thinking about, but he's very thankful that not for the first or last time he's helped out by Paul McGrath. I mean, you can see McGrath's got everything under control there, and his goalkeeper appears from nowhere, and he's got to make this tackle, McGrath. He knows it, and look at that for determination and commitment. First class.
Well, you can only think, and maybe you forgive him for it, that Mark Bosnich had just caught up in the special atmosphere here and a bit too excitable.
Well, he's young in the goalkeeping stakes, isn't he?
Influenced, of course, initially by Manchester United and Alex Ferguson. Put on the back burner when Peter Schmeichel arrived and then decided to go his own way back to Australia. Saunders, that's Whittingham, and Schmeichel has to seize the ball low down.
The key to Villa seems to be, can they get Atkinson on the ball enough? When he has been able to get on control of it, he has dragged one of the centre-backs out of position, and that's created a hole, and perhaps Whittingham and Saunders could get on top of that.
Atkinson again, it's Ince who tackled him that time. Hughes has to hold it up for a moment. And Cancels gets clever footwork. Small, though, is a sprinter too, as you saw.
That's why he's there. No question about the lad's ability in a 1-against-1 in a race. He'll be there. He won't be found wanting.
15 minutes have flown by to really whet the appetite here if it needs any more of that. Owen. Keane. Now Bruce. McGrath. Such a major figure at Manchester United in the past. Need to catch the eye, I think, for Villa here. Going to have a lot of work to do at the back. Parker threading it forward for Kanchelskis. Nicely weighted. Kanchelskis with the cross. Cantona climbing! Off the post. Luck with Villa. McGrath hoofed it to safety. Cantona so close.
Amazing when you put a cross of quality in. But Villa were caught short in area where I thought they would be, Matt, and that's wide. Parker and Kanchelskis get involved and create the opening. And I'll tell you what, it's a cross of quality. This is his most difficult cross. This isn't easy. He's got to dig it out of there. And Barrett, well, he's out-jumped there totally. And like so often in the games, and the last 3 times these teams have played, how many often have we seen the ball come back off the woodwork? And yet again, Villa saved by it there.
Whittingham. Cantona climbing to a cross on the run from Kanchelskis, and shades of what Robert Lee did to the detriment of Manchester United up at St James's Park last weekend, when Andy Cole, in a far less congested penalty area, in truth, in that incident, got Newcastle level in that game. Here's Barrett, though, leaving the Frenchman to move forward. Saunders. He does like to do that, come in from the left on his right foot, but he really telegraphed his intentions then.
I think he's so keen to get on the score sheet, Martin. He's at the moment trying to shoot from what I would call impossible angles. And perhaps a 1-2 certainly well. Barrett was on there. Barrett had pulled and held his position well. But he had only one thing on his mind there, Dean Saunders, and that was to go for goal.
The surface being slicked now by heavy rain. Saunders. Well, it comes to Saunders. There's a shot on here, and that's the way it's been going for him. Straight at Schmeichel.
It's at times like these when you're struggling for goals that you need to half-hit a shot in this area and bobble it in. Nothing wrong with its connection. Hits it very cleanly and very well, but very straight.
The ball does go high above the stands. The wind is playing a part. Right from Pallister. Kept pretty low by Schmeichel, looking to find Hughes. It was Richardson who intervened. Cox really throwing it down now. Saunders. Not a bad idea, not too good with the execution. Schmeichel hurling it well over the halfway line. Kanchelskis into overdrive again. Only Hughes in the middle. And you can't hardly blame Manchester United for that. It happened so quickly from one end to the other.
Amazing when your goalkeeper, such a potent weapon when you're going forward, isn't it? But Mark Hughes is unfortunate. You're the only striker there. You have to gamble, do you? Do you go near and check far post, or do you check to go far and go near? Hughes, in that case, opted to go near post. You see him there indicate they just wanted it fed in there.
Hughes certainly kept on his toes when he was substituted early in the second half at St James's Park. Certainly gave the bench a long, hard look when his number came up. But That's the quality of the squad that Alex Ferguson's got at his disposal. I think today Brian Leclerc and Ryan Giggs on the bench. No room at all for Brian Robson, who's champing at the bit. Joe Worrell has ruled in favour of Manchester United here, coming up to the 20-minute mark. So Pallister with the free kick. Well, no sooner had Sean Teal made the header that he was directing his defenders to get out on that far side to stop Manchester United making inroads again. It's looked a profitable area for them. With Kanchelskis, who's infield at the moment, and laid the ball wide to Keane, who was furthest away.
Just looking at Eric Cantona, and you see him at the bottom of the screen on the right, he's just wandering about deep. He knows he's been picked up man for man. He's just saying to himself, well, I'll just take myself out of certain areas. Maybe somebody else can get in on that.
Bruce. Well, of course, he'll be used from his experience in France. I'm sure man-to-man marking is not a strange opponent to him. He's given us the closest moment to a goal. Here come Manchester United again with Mark Hughes. Ince got a foot in. Sharp. Cantona knew he couldn't head for goal. Got it back into an area where Kanchelskis was likely to reach the ball, which he did. Parker. Keane. And Villa are struggling here. Cantona! Manchester United 1. Aston Villa 0. In the 22nd minute, he's hit the post, and now he's hit the back of the net.
No surprise, this, Martin. They get caught 3 against 2 on the right, and also they get Daly and Atkinson defending in an unusual position. But you ride the luck a little bit. 3 players, Teal, Barrett and McGrath, all have opportunities to clear it. Because through Teal's legs at the near post, Barrett can only touch it away from McGrath. And Eric Cantona doesn't miss chances like this.
A year ago to the very day, he scored his first Manchester United goal. That was at Chelsea. And there's his latest at the expense of Aston Villa.
It was really Roy Keane's run that opened him up, Martin, and Parker picked him out very well indeed.
Here's Richardson. Atkinson. Now Owen. Sharp staying right out on this near touch line, stretching Villa across their back line. Bruce, and there's plenty of good quality and good width on the far side as well.
We see it again here, and it's Keane who Daly and Atkinson in an unusual position, but this touch there from El Barrett was crucial, because I'm sure Paul McGrath was just about to clear it. Barrett could only touch it away from McGrath. And for a man of Cantona's quality, the rest was simple.
Here's Cox. Whittingham. Cox with the cross. A foul by Daly and Atkinson on Paul Parker. Manchester United giving Villa no respite here. A quick free kick. Kanchelskis, the type of player, if you're a defender, who just keeps coming at you. Hughes. Manchester United really in the mood at the moment. Keane. And Villa grateful for some defensive help just for a moment from Guy Whittingham.
There is no respite in the moment, Martin. The goal has given them a huge injection of confidence, as if they needed it, Manchester United. And they're pushing forward relentlessly at the moment.
Sharp too eagerly.
But it's times like this as the opposing team, you just have to dig in. Stem the tide. Get back into the game. Don't concede another goal. To go 2 down here, then it really would be a hill to climb for Aston Villa.
Whittingham. And Joe Worrell saw that splendidly. His positioning there was perfect. He had a view of what was happening around the ball and what was happening off it.
He was quite prepared to let it go had Dele Atkinson stayed on his feet as well. He waited till he could see Atkinson was going to gain no advantage.
Paul McGrath has made his way up. Neil Cox is there as well. Got the ball, and only back to Brian Small. Parker, Whittingham was fully committed then. Gone through a little spate of giving away penalties, Gary Pallister, so each challenge in the penalty area has to be scrutinised from his own point of view, let alone the referees. Sharp chasing. Bosnich knew what had to be done and did it well. Gary Parker. Great interception there by Keane. Cantona. Barrett has him in his sights. And all he can do is prevent the corner. Already the player that Barrett's responsible for, although you could hardly direct it totally at Barrett's for the blame, has given Manchester United the lead. Look at Bruce, look at the confidence of the champions. And let's not forget, we've made a lot of capital about how difficult it's been to retain the title. Liverpool have made a habit of it. Manchester United are certain that it's going to come this way, although they're not telling us publicly. They'll feel sure that it's theirs already, but that's a measure of the confidence. This would have been one for the scrapbook. And that nestled in the top corner. Steve Bruce from 35 yards. Alec Ferguson has been calling all the newspaper headlines about Manchester United's majesty and their lengthy lead propaganda. He said, if you think back what they used to do in the war to people who put propaganda about, that was an offence then, wasn't it? And he's founded a journalistic offence. But I did get him to admit that if Manchester United put together a run of wins in the sort of fixtures they've got coming up, that even he would begin to believe that it wasn't just propaganda, that it would be footballing fact. Got Blackburn coming here, of course, Leeds United as well on New Year's Day. Kanchelskis with the cross. Bosnich blocked it. And that's when the goalkeeper wants his defenders to be on their toes to help him out. And Earl Barrett lived up to that billing. What a good save, man, because I think he wasn't expecting this at all. But then drove itself into the box. Another very good cross from Kanchelskis. I think he expects McGrath to get the header, and Paul McGrath for once doesn't. And that became an instinctive save. And when he needed a bit of luck and have a defender around, he had one. It's got a taste for scoring again up at Newcastle. Well, the linesman is flagging here. The crowd don't like it. I don't think that Lee Sharp was offside. Whether it was Roy Keane coming back. But the game is played at such a pace, it's no wonder the linesmen sometimes get tight offsides wrong. I'm amazed how often they get it right, to be honest with you. Whittingham. Talking about Manchester United's big games coming up, they've got a trip, of course, to Oldham, where they were beaten last season. And then the game we'll be bringing you live on Sky Sports early in the new year. Liverpool at home to Manchester United. Will Cox feeling the pressure.
I wonder. Neil Cox is indicating there that the ball came off his thigh. He should have picked it up. And I think he's probably got a point here.
Owen. Oh, taken by surprise was Keane, because Kevin Richardson missed it.
Well, it's a chance, because you should always assume. Roy Keane should be assuming that Kevin Richardson's going to miss this. His concentration should be there, but he just takes his eye off it, and the chance is lost. But he'll be a relieved man.
Well, it's not a case of Villa sitting back here. They're being forced back. Ron Atkinson knows the value of having a go at Manchester United, even on their own territory, but you've got to have the ball to do that. It started that way. Villa were the quicker side to settle here. But now the home side carry the threat, and what a threat.
Breakdown in communications there. Cantona wanted the ball earlier than Roy Keane was prepared to give it.
Atkinson. He was pressed by Keane. Hughes offside against Roy Keane, who, as soon as Manchester United had got the ball, he played a part in that, set off on another of those surging runs.
Paul Ince has just given Mark Hughes a volley there, because he set off as well. You watch Ince go through the middle there, and he suddenly turns round and gives him a volley. But at times it must be a nightmare wearing a red shirt, because you've got so many options. How on earth do you pick the right one?
Well, that's what the great players do, of course.
Yeah. It's what they say, though, if you give players on the ball options, then you've got a chance of being a team. And certainly, whenever a red shirt is on the ball, so many variations they can choose from.
Gary Parker. Alistair with a header. Gary Parker again. Trying to bend it round his namesake towards Dalian Atkinson. Followed into Gary Parker. I think the referee gave him the benefit of the doubt then. Certainly Villa had the ball in any case. If you're hit by Mark Hughes, you tend to stay hit for a moment or two.
It's all in front at the moment for me, Aston Villa. All in front of the back four. Manchester United quite comfortable. They've really not been a threat in behind for quite some time now.
Vince Angelskis, centre field at the moment, going wide now. Spotted by Small, so that's why Bruce looked into another area for the run of Ince. Richardson. Well, the players forward for Aston Villa. One of them is Neil Cox. He could be in here, and just couldn't get his footing right when the ball was in range. But that's not the first time we've seen Cox take a chance and dart into the penalty area.
What a difference, Mark, no. I talked about getting in behind him, and for the first time in a long time, it's exactly what a player does. And he's very unlucky, Neil Cox. Doesn't get the run of the ball. If he did have, he's got the composure to have done something with that chance. But that's what's needed. You need people to get in behind. And he did it from a deep area. But full marks, in all honesty, to Lee Sharp. Did what you would want all your defensive players to do in that situation, tracked them all the way.
Angelskis. Small trying to jockey him and tackling him brilliantly. A natural defender, Brian Small. Earned the right to be picked whenever Aston Villa's fixture list shows the name of Manchester United on it. Parker, Barrett. Just needed a slightly defter touch then, but Whittingham was prepared to challenge the defenders with the run. Norwich showed that you can get goals here against Manchester United, and so, of course, did Galatasaray. Hughes alone through the centre. Cantona was trying to link up with him. There wasn't too much cover had he got past Steve Bruce.
But that's the areas Martin will be looking to get Saunders into. Paul Parker had just been dragged a little bit further forward than normal. Saunders was looking to spin away down the channel. Well, there's only one winner in that race, I tell you. You don't give Brian Small 2 or 3 yard start and expect to catch him.
It's being conducted at Olympic pace on the far side there. Nice play by Bruce. Pallister. He's usually a bit more comfortable than that on the ball, but Cantona with a clever turn. Biting in was Ince, laid off by Hughes, forward by Keane. And Bosnich is very eager to come out of his penalty area today.
They're winning most of the second balls at the moment, Manchester United. Any scratches that are going, it's inevitably a red shirt that comes out with the ball.
Owen, Sharp.
That's the worst part of the ground, Martin, down in that corner that Lee Sharp's running into.
It's actually going to be re-turfed before next weekend. That's the heaviest part of the pitch, and they're going to do some Christmas week repairs here. Yes, the ball in play is a good figure there, which seems to be higher than average at this stage, and you certainly get that feel about what we've seen so far. Unrelenting entertainment here, and you're seeing it live on your football channel, Sky Sports. Owen. Manchester United calm enough in this rattling atmosphere here to just play the ball around at the back if they feel they need to do that, maybe to draw Villa out. Bruce. Parker. Even Kevin Richardson dropping into the back line at times to restrict the options for Manchester United. But Ince has found some space here. Keane wants it on the edge of the area, and he goes, and probably Mark Hughes, more than Villa defenders, got in his way.
He certainly did. Wonderful run from Paul Ince, and great vision. But look at Mark Hughes. He's honestly trying to pull for the ball, but by doing so, they pulled Kevin Richardson into an area that Roy Keane wanted left clear.
What a year Paul Ince has had, week in, week out, for club and for country.
Yeah, I think that Sammy McIlroy was mentioning earlier that he thought Peter Beardsley would be a strong contender for the Player of the Year award, the PFA one. But I think that that man you mentioned there, Paul Ince, has got as strong a case as anyone.
Cantona. Wasn't easy to take, but Hughes made light of the difficulties, and he was encouraged to take another chance or two with the ball at his feet rather than look for the supporting cast there. Cantona trying to clip it up towards Kanchelskis.
You don't often see Mark Hughes turned on the opportunity of hitting the ball, and there was one there.
Whittingham taking his opportunity to run with it. Atkinson likewise. Saunders in the centre, Whittingham there as well. Hughes trying to use that legendary strength of his. Little think forward from Dennis Irwin. Sharp, and Teal is labouring a little here. Sharp trying to get it in early, but Bosnich saw it coming. Kanchelskis was herring in to the centre.
Well, it's all United at the moment, Martin. Lee Sharp looked up and did what he had to do. He had to play it early, but it just lacked the pace needed to take the ball through to Andrei Kanchelskis. One of the other major differences in the game so far is when Aston Villa break forward, but Dalian Axman did on the left a minute ago. They had two options in the penalty area, Saunders and Whittingham. When Manchester United break forward, there are people flying in from everywhere.
Kanchelskis for the second chance to cross it. There's been some excellent approach play involving Keane and Paul Parker before we got to that. Paul McGrath trying to stem the tide.
Well, there's been a school of thought that McGrath and Teal haven't been at the job this year, Martin. That's been one of the reasons they haven't been as successful, but they certainly had to perform well today.
And Aston Villa can take some encouragement. They've been on the receiving end. McGrath has done his bit. They're only one down. 5 minutes or so to go to half-time. Eric Cantona, the scorer. Richardson. Hughes couldn't feel Teal behind him that time and knew he had a bit more space to turn with the ball. That from Bosnich. Little cushion volleyed pass.
I tell you what, oh, they give managers heart attacks, wouldn't they? I mean, he could just go back into his area, would have skipped through to him, he collected it quite coolly, but not a goalkeeper.
Richardson.
No movement ahead of the Martin as well. Looking along and Whittingham's having to work across the field.
Here he is. Parker. Atkinson. They've certainly got some weapons in their armoury, Aston Villa. Haven't got too much of the ammunition for those weapons at the moment, though. Kanchelskis. Small backpedaling. One of those that flew across the face where defenders are trying to get out of the way in case they put through their own goal. But mindful of the fact that there might have been a Manchester United leg being stretched forward.
Hughes again, no, Martin. You looked at the way he collected the ball deep in his own half, under pressure, shrugged off one or two tackles, and was able then to pick out a real quality ball to Andrew Kanchelskis.
Richardson is small. Saunders, whose work rate hasn't suffered in this barren spell in terms of goal-getting. Parker. United have got everyone back behind the ball except Mark Hughes. Richardson has a run at them though here.
But that's what they can't do. There's no space between them. The back four are so narrow of Manchester United because Villa have no width in the last third. But they're able to get in contact with each other and it becomes very difficult for Aston Villa to pick a ball through.
Here's Bruce. Hughes. And Atkinson will be hoping that his side get through without any further alarms for the half-time whistle. I wouldn't be too sure. There's so much variety about Manchester United's football. Ince. We're trying to find a moment to tell you about our Monday night football. Bear with us. Parker. Here's Kanchelskis. Well, maybe now, quickly, to inform you, remind you, game with plenty of passion about it in West London, Queen's Park Rangers against Chelsea. Both sides appealing there. Here's a corner. Kanchelskis has had a very lively half. He knows that he has to be on top of his game with Ryan Giggs waiting on the bench. Lee Sharp, left-footed, of course, to take the corner. Looks as though it hit an Aston Villa body, but not the way Joe Worrell saw it.
Yeah, you can see Joe in the bottom left-hand corner. He's got a difficult position to see this from. It certainly looked as if it came off El Barrett, and you can see by the goalkeeper's reaction, desperately trying to keep it in, but it possibly did.
Saunders really wasn't on for Neil Cox. Keane. Well, Paul McGrath stepped up so far that he'd gone into the other half, which is a bit risky.
I know it's always difficult for managers to make changes when the game's as tight, back 1-0, but I just wonder if there's a thought in Ron Atkinson's mind to throw Tony Daly on, maybe earlier than you would imagine. Provide that bit of genuine width.
Richardson, small. Richardson. Cox is in there again. It's too long for him.
He's actually been their best ball into the box 3 times now. Neil Cox, you see him there, he pointing to it, he's won that in there, he's timed his run very well indeed. But Kevin Richardson hasn't produced the ball that was required in that situation.
Cox, who's been frustrated this season, he's been talking about a transfer, but now he's having a run in the side. Maybe he'll change his mind. Gary Parker. Richardson. Needed to go hunting it again. Saunders, found by Whittingham. Nothing too much to ruffle Manchester United's feathers. If anything, they were in too much of a hurry to counter-attack. Oh, the kick went straight to Keane. We're in time now that Joe Worrell is choosing to add on. Pallister. Rain falling heavily again. Ince. Sharp waiting on the left. Keane joining Hughes in the centre. Well, in those sort of situations, Sean Teal is very reliable. Sharp. Cox coped. Atkinson, who's been allowed to play as a free spirit in this first half. He loves it when he gets the ball at his feet. However deep he is, he'll run. Hughes. Put out by McGrath, who loses it out in turn to Keane. McGrath's there again. Aston Villa's record on this ground is a very poor one. They've won only once here in 39 years. Back in 1983 with a couple of Peter With goals. And they've been on the receiving end again at Old Trafford in the first half. But just one goal for Manchester United to show for their efforts. It came from Eric Cantona midway through the half. Villa tinkering with their tactical strategy to try and diffuse some of Manchester United's strengths. Well, it hasn't totally worked, but the gap at least is bridgeable. At half-time at Old Trafford, Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0.
A Super Sunday in Manchester. We're at Old Trafford, the home of the champions, Manchester United, who are beating Aston Villa at half-time by 1-0. The rest of the match facts: 7 shots from United, 3 on target, 3 from Villa, just 1 on target. They haven't forced a corner yet, Aston Villa. United have had 2, and they've had 53% of the play as well. The talkback lines are open, and Jonathan Pearce is back. Jonathan, what's happening?
Richard, I was at Elland Road yesterday. The rumour sweeping around there was that Terry Venables is to become the New England manager in the new year. We want your thoughts on that on 0839 444 590 to share the crack on Super Sunday Talkback. A real Santa's sack full of views on the men making the news. Would it be an ideal Christmas present for the game? Vena's in charge. What are your Christmas presents for the game? Come on, let's hear from you. We'll agree with a few of your views. We'll disagree with others. And if we disagree with them, you'll get our own Santa. Red and round and about to pound. OG, Keezy!
There is the telephone number again, 0839 444 590. Those lines are open now. Give Jonathan a call. We're in the company today of Sammy McElroy and Peter With. And I suppose if Villa can draw any consolation from the half, Peter, it's the fact that it is only 1-0.
That's the only consolation that they can draw, to be fair. They started off 10 minutes, started off very well. They had a lot of possession in that 10 minutes, but they're not hurting them, they're not going behind them. In fact, the only one who's hurt them, as Andy Gray said, is Cox. He's getting into the box, and you can understand why Manchester United have got a lot of goals throughout the side, because they're all desperate to get into the box and score goals. And the problem that Aston Villa have got is there's not enough people wanting to get into the box, and if they're going to cross balls, you've got to get people in the box to score them.
Was the writing on the wall for Villa when Cantona hit the post, Sammy? Here comes that chance, incidentally. And what a ball from the winger, eh?
That was a great... That's just what I said before, Richard. I mean, he's improved his game so much with his ball into the box. And he's done it on about 3 or 4 occasions where United could have scored more goals. Cantona rises beautifully here, heads it down. Peter said, I mean, Cox had that, the goalkeeper had that covered. I think he was well beaten there, actually.
Well beaten. Should have stood up.
Again, you know, he's got by small on numerous occasions, but his cross is just tremendous ball in. Great header. Oh yeah, definitely beaten.
And he's shown really why Ryan Giggs is not in the side
Well,
today, hasn't he?
I mean, as I said, they've got the balance there. They've got Sharp on the left side and Conchetta's on the right, and he's improved his game by this final ball in.
Here comes the only goal so far, scored by Eric Cantona. It was coming, Peter, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, you look at Daly and Atkinson here, I mean, it's chipped through here. Daly and Atkinson, he just gets brushed to one side, crosses it into the box, goes through legs and one thing and another, and then in the end he's got the simple chance to just knock it in the empty goal. Well, not the empty goal, but I mean, goalkeeper's there.
It was his awareness that kept it in play earlier, wasn't it? The cross from the left-hand side that he just guided back out right.
That's
into
right.
a danger area.
I mean, the big thing that I think as well is the boy Chelsea's. I mean, he's put in, since I've seen him and since he's been over here, 3 crosses that he's probably not done since the time he's been here. I mean, some of the crossing that he's put in has been tremendous. I mean, that's great touch.
I think Keane's done marvellous there, actually, taking it on his chest and by the lad. A little bit of luck when the ball comes across the goal, but I mean, you're going to get that, and Cantona's there to finish it.
Goalkeeper.
As we watch this again, Peter, I wonder, is there a way back, and what is it for Aston Villa?
Well, it would be interesting to see what Ron Atkinson is saying. I mean, he probably referred to the 10-minute spell where they had possession and created chances. But I would think that he'd be saying to them, you know, we've got to get enough people in the box and we've got to get more people in the box. And, you know, I mean, the one thing that I was looking at is Daly and Atkinson. He's had a lot of touches of the ball, and normally I criticise him. He doesn't have enough touches of the ball. But he always scores a goal when he doesn't, and he's had too many touches of the ball. Maybe that's why he's maybe not pounced to score a goal.
1-0 at half-time at Old Trafford to the champions, who of course edged it in the chase with Aston Villa last season. They went stride for stride with them for so long, but it was United's title. Can Villa strike back here? They're only a goal down. We'll be back with more in a moment or so. Welcome back. We didn't get time the other side of the break to have a look at that stop of Mark Bosnich's from Paul Ince. Was this a good save, or was he fortunate here, Sammy?
No, I think it was a good save, actually. Another great ball in from Concelsus. Ince times it beautifully here. Just right. Heads it down again, which is hard for the goalkeeper. And, you know, keeps it out. I think somebody actually could have been following up there, you know, it would have been another goal. But I think it was a good save, actually. He stopped it quite well.
So 1-0 to United at half-time. Aston Villa, having had a word or two in there, I'm sure, from Ron Atkinson, ready to do battle again in this second half. Let's rejoin Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thanks, Richard. Andy, you've got some views that Ron Atkinson might change things. We'll see in a moment whether he has. I don't think that he has, but your thoughts on Tony Daly factor?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that everything was so narrow, and particularly in the last third of the match, at the pitch for Aston Villa, that Daly, who's naturally wide anyway and would feel confident about playing there, it might be an option for Ron. Now, he's not one for changing things too quickly when the games are tight like this. So I certainly didn't expect to see it at half-time, but I just wonder how long he would let it go at 1-0 before thinking of making a change of some sort.
Eric Cantona, at the moment, with today's goal, leads the Manchester United scorers list. He has 12 to Mark Hughes' 11. 10 of Cantona's goals have come in the league. So 1-0 to Manchester United. Perhaps they will feel not enough to show for their first half supremacy. Whittingham. Now Richardson. It's nowhere to go wide on the right. Crossed by McGrath. Atkinson. Michael was only hurrying just to get the ball back.
That was a classic problem there that Kevin Richardson had. Went across the pitch, looking for an outlet, and there's nothing for him. Ends up playing the ball back to one of his centre-halves. A hopeful cross up there, and there's nothing much Dalian Axon can do. But he was looking around at his players, looking for width, and it wasn't there.
Neil Cox had actually got himself involved in midfield in one of those little enterprising dashes that were a feature, perhaps the best feature for Villa in the first half in an attacking sense. Oh, Kanchelskis put through by Hughes. Bosnich got the ball. It breaks for Sharp.
Rush of blood there from Lee Sharp. First and foremost, Kanchelskis' touch. It gives Bosnich a chance. The ball's played behind Shontil, but from here, that touch means the goalkeeper can come, and he does well from there. But look at the back post, look at Keane. And there's Mark Hughes there as well. And Lee Sharp blasts it over the top. That touch, and the goalkeeper picks his moment perfectly to get his hands to it. Well, here, when you need a little bit of composure, that's not Lee Sharp that we know.
Actually, Lee Sharp and Roy Keane have a bet going this season as to who will score the most goals, and maybe Lee wanted to add to his tally. He's leading at the moment by 9-6, rather than set up someone who might take some money off him. I'm sure, of course, that was the last thing on his mind. But they might have a joke about it if Manchester United are celebrating a victory at the end of the afternoon. Characteristic, combative play from Ince. Adventurous Mark Bosnich again. McGrath. Pallister.
Got to get hold
McGrath.
of balls like that, man. Sorry, Dean Saunders. McGrath played him a lovely ball. And really, it's up to the front man to get hold of it and protect it. And he really didn't do that very well there.
Actually, we saw Nick Collins having a word with Ron Atkinson as the Aston Villa manager came down the tunnel. We'll get to hear about that in a moment. Cantona. Nick, tell us all.
Martin, well, Ron Atkinson's thoughts at this stage of the proceedings are, we've got to believe we can still get something out of this game. We're playing well enough, but United are playing very well. As to whether there'll be any changes, he said, well, we'll have to wait and see, though both substitutes are still warming up.
Thanks, Nick. Came off Paul Parker. Hughes. Andy, there were certainly areas that Villa would want to improve from their first half showing, but it really wasn't a case of Villa playing badly, just trying to keep pace with the best side in the country.
They are, and that's true, but they did fall down in the last third, I thought, quite a bit. The build-up play to the sort of area we see them in now was good, but from there on in, the last third where it really matters, they just seem to lack the ideas to get through the United rear guard. And that's the area they've got to improve in most in the second half.
This run, 5 league games without a win before today is their worst for 21 months. Home to Southampton was a shoddy performance, but they've done reasonably well in losing at Liverpool, playing well on the day. Should have won at Queen's Park Rangers, Ron Atkinson will tell you. Good game with Sheffield Wednesday at home, and then that loss at Villa Park to Wimbledon. Parker. Hughes. Sharp is in the centre. Parker trying to keep the pressure on. Kanchelskis. Important phase of the game, this. Aston Villa, having had the chance to assess the first half, to come out here and try and improve in various facets of their game, knowing that Manchester United, for all their domination, haven't left them behind.
Now that's the important part of the match for Villa. They're still there, they're still in with a genuine chance. If they can keep it tight at the back, oh, just springing it at the back once, and that once might be enough.
Parker. Here's Kanchelskis. The charge is on again. Well, it took 3 to stop him, and they stopped him in such a way that Joe Worrell didn't feel the need to blow his whistle. Richardson has a ball onto the right this time. Cox is where Richardson expected him to be. Barrett goes outside him. Cox again. Richardson.
That's such a difficult ball, Martin, that Kevin Richardson's trying to play. A straight ball down the middle into a packed defence for runners.
Atkinson turning into the tackle from Ince, who tries to hound down Sean Teal. Both the sides still in the League Cup, of course, and the FA Cup involvement to look forward to in the new year.
I think one of the biggest things that they've missed today, Aston Villa, has been that natural left-sided player, particularly Steve Staunton, who played so well in both fixtures in that forward position ahead of Brian Small. And I think they've missed that more than anything today.
But it's an absorbing afternoon for a big crowd. Let's get confirmation of how big here. Well, almost 44,500. And look at that for the season so far in the Premiership. And that's up on last year's figures. So much talk about Manchester United killing off the league as a spectacle with their domination of it. Those statistics don't show that. And after all, when they're playing as they are, the league leaders, they'll be packing grounds all over the country right to May.
Well, it's up to the rest to do something about that, Martin, to make it more of a contest. At the moment, Manchester United are doing exactly what their manager wants, what their fans want to see, and that's winning the league title at the moment by a long margin.
Leeds certainly trying to muster something in terms of a challenge. We'll see just how good Blackburn are next Sunday, perhaps, when they come here. Headed by Cox. Barrett. And Ferguson's side not quite firing so far in the second half. Parker trying to join the list of scorers. His name is the absentees. Atkinson. So Whittingham up with him. Bruce incurring the attention of the referee because of the angle of the tackle.
Don't think he agreed with his decision, did he, Steve Bruce?
Quick free kick. Teal going in. Richardson. Now, what sort of cross can Small come up with here? It's not his strongest suit. Atkinson. That's nicely done to get the better of Ince. It flies away, but It was a more encouraging moment for Aston Villa, despite the derision from the Manchester United fans. It all came from a free kick for the foul awarded against Steve Bruce.
I thought he got an awful lot of the ball there. In fact, he does. And I think you can see there from that shot why he was so upset at Joe Worrall's decision. Perhaps the referee's angle wasn't that great.
Well, Joe Worrall certainly didn't see it the way we saw it on the replay. In either sense. The flag stayed down. Lee Sharp was coming back from an offside position. But at 1-0, oh, that was a very ambitious ball, though, in the end, an effective one from Schmeichel. Kanchelskis wriggling free. Hughes letting him go. Now Sharp. Keane herring into the centre. Cantona lurking on the edge. Sharp hasn't been able to show us the quality in his crossing. He's run the ball out several times, trying to get a better angle.
Neil Cox has played him well today, I think, Martin. Always a handful, Lee Sharp, for anybody. But not only has Neil Cox defended well, he's also asked Lee Sharp some questions of his own going forward into the opposing half. I think he's had a good game for me, the right back. He really has.
Hughes just showing some interest at moving towards Bosnich, but not enough to give the goalkeeper any palpitations. It's still 1-0 to Manchester United. And Richardson picks it off. There are two up with him. Atkinson and Saunders. If he plays it right, there might be a chance here for Dean Saunders. Will it come up for Richardson? It does. He battered the ball goalwards, and Schmeichel, that strong man, was solidly behind it.
Well, that's the best situation Villa have had in the match. They really should have made more of it.
And it reminds us that it is still a match.
You look at this, I just thought Saunders maybe should have started his run in earlier, but from here, the ball wasn't perfect, the touch wasn't great. They get the run of it there. It's a difficult one for Kevin Richardson, and all he can do is hit it straight at Peter Schmeichel. But it was a glorious opportunity for them.
In the end, it was a more difficult version of the chance Cantona had when he gave Manchester United a lead. Ince, Irwin comes up alongside him. Ince, encouraged by that goal at Newcastle last weekend, tries his own luck. Flags up.
That's the danger. That was worry Alex Ferguson at times. His team throws so many men forward, as they did in that last attack, and one bad ball from Paul Ince. It's cut out, and then the 3 against 2 at the back. In a game where they've really, apart from the opening few minutes, they've looked very much in control.
Well, the game is not won yet for Manchester United. Side that have made winning such a habit in 1993. Saunders, and that scurrying style of his in that difficult area of the playing surface.
That was a much better position he got himself in for the pass. Wide of the centre-back, somewhere to run in to give him problems.
The problem for Villa as they go chasing the game is this type of situation. Drastic measures required. Now, Neil Cox, I think he probably has hurt himself, but it just crossed my mind, having been booked in the first half, that he might be looking for some sympathy from the referee.
It may be. I think he does jar himself as he goes down. He has a quick look there, you see, and then decides, perhaps it's in my favour if I stay down here and pretend I'm a little bit injured. But I don't think there's an awful lot wrong with that tackle, Mark, in all honesty. Certainly not, it doesn't want a booking.
It's been a very good contest between the two young men.
It has.
It's lasted almost an hour, and just wonder whether it's going through Alec Ferguson's mind, the Ryan Giggs question.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
The player that, if we believe what we read, the player that Milan want to pay millions and millions for, a substitute for his club today. Coming up to 15 minutes gone in the second half. Villa, of course, started the first half well. And then Manchester United made them look second best. Parker. And a good attitude shown by Ron Atkinson's players since the half-time interval.
They weathered the storm after the opening goal, Mark, very, very well. The important thing was they didn't concede a second, and they've kept themselves in there.
Well, Kanchelskis kicked the ball away. And some referees would have seized on that. But the complaint came from Small, not from Joe Worrell. Keane, Ince, Hughes. Nicely constructed.
Well, he's got the taste of it last week, didn't he? Hollins, his first goal of the season against Newcastle, and once or twice today he's looked to get himself in positions like this on the edge of the box and shown he's not afraid to hit it.
He said to me last week after the game, I don't start scoring till December. I haven't checked it, but he thought his first goal last season was in the Manchester Derby here, a game that we covered around this time of year. Cantona, the scorer today. Schmeichel has tried one or two ambitious passes. This time it's the big hoof down the middle for Hughes. That was spotted by McGrath. Keane getting the better of Small. Hughes checking out, making space for himself, but the ball wasn't quite hit hard enough. McGrath was able to intervene. Kanchelskis. Hooked out by Teal this time. Not very far, though, off the head of Saunders and out of play. United having to show some patience here. Is that a foul throw? I think it was. And it will give Ron Atkinson an opportunity to make a change, to bring on Tony Daly, but to take off Dean Saunders. Andy.
But in all honesty, Martin, I'm not surprised that he's made the change. I think there comes a time in games where you have to try something different. Tony Daly is certainly that. And at the moment, Dean Saunders is the striker who's suffering most in the goal-scoring stakes.
Cox kept it in. Sharp back to help defend. It's hard to take, though, when you're a regular goal scorer and your side's losing and you're the one taken off. But I suppose a regular goal scorer is what Dean Saunders isn't at the moment. I'm sure he'll light the fuse again soon.
What it means they've done around the pitch, Martin, they've tucked Del Barrett back into his position at right back and moved Neil Cox further up into that right-sided midfield area with Whittingham and Atkinson up front. Now, what's important for Tony Daly is that he gives him some width. He's been on the pitch about a minute, and at the moment he's been in the middle of the pitch, exactly where Dean Saunders was. So I do think it is important to pull him wide a bit.
Tony Daly, whose dreams of going to Italy were shattered when the deal set up by Udinese fell apart. Well, that's, again, what Small does very well. Richardson. Barrett. Now McGrath. Lee Sharp was late.
In actual fact, I've misled you slightly, Mark. They've actually not moved Cox further forward, which is what I thought they would do. It looks like they're still going to persist with El Barrett playing against Cantona, and Cox just making forward runs from right back.
Daly is, of course, such a danger on the counter-attack if they can get the ball to him in the right areas. The destiny of this match, and such an important one it is, still in the melting pot. Aston Villa have come through some difficult times here at Old Trafford this afternoon. It's the question of whether they can see some light at the end of a long, dark tunnel. Daly. When Eric Cantona crowned a lengthy spell of Manchester United supremacy with the game's opening goal, Aston Villa supporters would have feared the worst, I think. They'll be pleased with the present situation, given that first half. Atkinson. Bruce a bit too strong for him. Ince keeping it short. Chelsea's giving it away. Richardson. As he was challenged by Hughes. And now there's a ball on here for Hughes. It's more good defending by Small. Working hard once more to justify his selection. Kanchelskis. Daly doing the tackling. Ince. Oh, no one close enough to Kanchelskis. Time to turn. The Villa players around him, but certainly not closing him down. Ince. Well, Aston Villa regret that. The attack still going on through Hughes. And now with Keane.
Minus a boot, Roy Keane.
Well, that's one way of evening the odds a bit, I suppose.
You see, it just comes off there, and he's off and running. But he's still determined enough to earn his side a free kick in a very dangerous area.
Well, I was at Leeds yesterday when a free kick in this sort of position unhinged Arsenal from Gary McAllister. Sharp looking in the same area. Bosnich came and Teal headed it from his grasp. Daly for Atkinson. Paul Parker just had to try and see the ball. And Joe Worrell concerned for the Manchester United #2. Atkinson was coming forward at pace. He hadn't actually, I don't think, totally mastered the control of the ball, and Parker stepped in.
It's an awkward challenge. Two of them get tangled up, and Daly and Atkinson lands on you. You know all about it. He's a solid lad.
Well, he has his ebbs and flows to his game, Daly and Atkinson. But he's still a player capable of influencing a major match like this one. Paul Parker's okay. It's been a challenging response by Aston Villa to their adversity. Hasn't been easy for Manchester United in the second half, but there's no question that in one moment they can re-establish themselves. And should a second goal happen for Alec Ferguson's team, you really couldn't see Aston Villa responding to that. Daly. Parker playing safe. A year ago, you would have found Manchester United 4th in the table with 34 points compared to the 49 that they had before this match. They were behind Norwich, behind Villa, and behind Blackburn then. And of course, their reputation at that particular time were of the team that had blown the title the year before. It's been a very, very good year for Manchester United.
Funny stage though, the game, Mark. No one's really in top, are they? You're not too sure which way it's going to fall. You're really not. Manchester United, they look at that point with the 1-0 up and they're thinking, well, we're 20 minutes away and we don't want to commit too many men forward and risk another break. It almost cost us a goal a little earlier. And you can understand that, and Villa not quite sure what to do in response.
Yes, it's been a very even second half. To take a risk or two, they're trying to do that, but they know if they're over-ambitious in looking for an equaliser, well, the game may be taken from them, or the powers of recovery may be taken from them. I think the crowd are a bit confused by the second half as well.
The supporters' response to trying to lift their team. I think they can see that the game's at that really awkward, funny stage, and the supporters are trying to rally their side.
Well, Sharp, whose game has been so frustrated today by Neil Cox, fouled his immediate opponent. Cox, who's got a lot of experience as a regular in Laurie McMenamin's under-21 setup, as has been Brian Small. It was Small who gave the ball away, and Keane being told to get up and get on with it by Joe Worrell because the ball rolled on to Manchester United's advantage with Sharp. Small, who's been responsible really for Villa's problems in the first place. Ince, Kanchelskis, Parker, Keane and Hughes. The build-up goes on with Irwin, but it's in front of Villa at the moment. Ince trying to get his body position right so he could impart some swerve on the ball to embarrass Bosnich. In the end, wasn't exactly a case of embarrassing himself, but he could have done better. Beneath the bobble hat, one of the most famous faces in football. He might just have had the call. Sharp is offside. He might be a candidate to go off. Andrei Kanchelskis has felt the hook, as they say, a good few occasions in the past.
Mark Hughes has felt the hook.
Well, he did last weekend, of course.
I honestly can't understand Tony Daly's position, Mark. I honestly thought he'd come on and provide Aston Villa with a bit more width. And there he finds himself right in the middle of the pitch, just doing exactly what's been happening previously. I thought they would have said to him, get on that wing, get yourself away, get some chalk on your boots, as you used to say in the old days, and try and open up the back four a little bit more.
Well, Manchester United might be a bit uneasy here. Richardson with the free kick. Whittingham is a real poacher in the penalty area, of course. Villa have chased some away games successfully this season. Of course, they've only lost once on their travels. That was at Liverpool. I was at Arsenal when they were 1 goal down and then came back with 2 late goals to win it. Kanchelskis, Teal saying that he went for the ball. Cantona is calling on Jim McGregor for some instant attention to Andrei Kanchelskis.
I think he's a bit unlucky, and the reason why is I thought his touch there was too far in front of Kanchelskis, and it was only his pace that rescued the situation, and he tempted Teal into the tackle. It looks a horrible tackle, but I think the worst it was mistimed. I really do. I have some sympathy with him there. It's a golden opportunity really for Andrej Kanchelskis. His first touch been better to really go and commit Teal. I think it would have been very, very harsh had that colour been red.
But what is the legacy of the challenge? Gordon Cowan's to the left of Ron Atkinson as we look. Alec Ferguson, who was named by the World Soccer magazine the World Manager of the Year. It's caused him a bit of embarrassment in the Manchester United camp. The players have been teasing him about it. But he might have to make a managerial decision here. Kanchelskis isn't going to make it easy for him by going off injured. Not yet. Cantona takes the free kick. Pallister. His defensive pal Steve Bruce alongside him there in attack. Pallister again. It's a ball out here. Well, Cantona was the easier target. Pallister was looking for Kanchelskis. Aston Villa, you do feel sensing some hope here. Daly. Richardson. For Daly again. Parker getting in. Whittingham with a little flick. McGrath trying to keep the action in United territory. On the ground he knows so well. Small. Keane was in the wards for a moment there. Atkinson. The referee not helping Kanchelskis defend. Daly. And Keane got the ball, but presumably was penalised for going in with studs showing.
No, I can't believe that decision. Can't believe it. Keane's committed to that ball. Look at that. He catches the ball there, takes ball in man, but he certainly takes the ball first. And that's why Manchester United players were so furious.
Well, is this the chance that Villa have been waiting for? Parker. By Sharp. Teal will keep it in. The boos go up for him for that incident with Kanchelskis, in which Teal was booked. Cox. Aston Villa taking it to the wire here. McGrath, great tackle. As though Earl Barrett coming in from the far side might find his way for an equaliser, and then Whittingham was hoping that the cross could get beyond Pallister, who had other ideas.
That is an absolutely brilliant defensive header from Gary Pallister, because the cross has got real quality in there. Look what a difficult decision he's got to make, and what a difficult header he had to make, and he made them both perfectly.
Well, I just wonder, Andy, whether we're watching here a period of play that might have some influence over the second half of the season. Can Aston Villa claw a goal back? If so, a third successive home draw for Manchester United. Encouragement for others who've got to come here, particularly the big guns in the next couple of games. See, Roy Keane has spilt blood in the cause here. Blackburn next Sunday. You'll see it live on Sky Sports. Leeds United on New Year's Day, games at Old Trafford, where the challengers might be able to regain some lost ground. was hurly-burly in the penalty area.
Slowly but surely, Martin. So slowly but surely, from about the hour mark, United haven't been as convincing as they were earlier in the match, and Villa began to exert some pressure of their own, and it's building and building slowly.
Michael with an authoritative catch, a quick kick, and it's the direct route for Manchester United. A mistake by Small. Kanchelskis hasn't got much help. It's arriving now in the shape of Hughes. Oh, deflected by Teal, but it looked for a second as though it would be a telling deflection. It wasn't. Atkinson. Aston Villa really taking up the cudgels here. There were signs in the first half that this game would be settled by this stage and maybe earlier. It's certainly not.
Credit Aston Villa. They've kept themselves in the game. They've battled and scrapped really well. And at a very important time in the game, they're starting to put some pressure on Manchester United.
And here comes Ryan Giggs. Lee Sharp hasn't been able to influence proceedings like he did when the two sides met down at Villa Park at the start of the season. Genuine wishes of success there as the two pass. They're great friends as well as rivals for a particular job in the side. And there is a wonderful spirit in the Manchester United dressing room. I suppose you'd be surprised if there wasn't in these circumstances, but the players have been together, the vast majority of them, for 3 or 4 years. It was a point Alec Ferguson was making to me earlier today. Parker spinning it wide for Neil Cox. Whittingham brushed aside by Ince. Teal not making it easy for McGrath, but the two of them enough to stop Manchester United there. Whittingham chasing, out comes Schmeichel.
Spare a thought for Neil Cox, Martin. 80 minutes he's played against Sharp, played him as well as anybody this season.
Seen him off.
Sees him off, looks across at the touchline, who's going on to face him? Ryan Giggs.
Well, we know Giggs has got plenty about him, but I think Cox has shown that we can use the same expression today. Big game. Tough one for the youngsters. We've got another big game for you tomorrow night, of course, the West London derby. Terrific rivalry between Queen's Park Rangers and Chelsea. Sure to be a warm old night in the FA Carling Premiership down in Shepherd's Bush. And you can watch it on Sky Sports.
You don't often see that when the ball, Paul Parker just ushering the ball out of play, just steps across Tony Daly's line. You see it every time in football. Hardly ever a free kick given, but Joe Worrall was having none of it there.
Seven minutes to go. A lot of the clubs in the Premiership urging Aston Villa on here.
I'd shove Neil Cox forward and just go 3 at the back for us one, which he might be doing with Barrett McGrath and Teal, and just push Neil Cox right forward on that right-hand side, because he's been their best outlet wide for all of the game.
It's Aston Villa's 16th away game of the season. They've won 7, drawn 7, and just lost the 1. And I think you can see in the second half how they've done it. They've got commendable application on their travels. And they're pushing Manchester United back. Whittingham. Away by Ince, but not very far. McGrath saw that. Gary Parker again. Whittingham. Richardson is there. Oh, and Daly was as well on the shot by Cox.
Well, he had every right to hit it. But again, I tell you, they didn't look happy at the back. Manchester United had all sorts of trouble trying to clear this. Whittingham looking to set up Richardson, who drags it wide, but then is always struggling a little bit. And he's got every right to hit this Neil Cox, but doesn't control it at all.
And it's an edgy end to the game for Mike Ferguson's team. Relatively quiet here at Old Trafford, and that's a compliment to Aston Villa. McGrath. But as Villa with a genuine target of a European place for next season in terms of a high league position, they will draw something from this even if they lose the game.
They'll draw a lot more if they can get something up.
Well, you spoke there for the first time like a man with a little bit of an interest in the Villa camp in your past life.
Totally unbiased, totally unbiased, man.
You kept your past very much under wraps today. Well, Michael can take his time. Barrett. Cantona. The juggling from Small. Hughes wanting to see that. Kanchelskis. Foot in by Richardson. Keane. Richardson again. He does so much good work to keep it ticking over for Aston Villa in midfield. Owen improvising with the header.
He's really the Paul Ince of Aston Villa. There's that role, gets in there, gets his tackles in, keeps it simple, passes it simple. Players, you would call them.
McGrath. Daly in the middle again. Not to the liking of Andy Gray. McGrath. Manchester United at the moment just making sure that their marking is right. Keane making a run alongside Parker. Alistair there. Ball dropped beyond both of them. Daly. Barrett has given it straight to Hughes. Cantona against Teal. And in comes Ryan Giggs. Bosnich again. Shows what a goalkeeper Manchester United lost when they decided to go for Schmeichel. But they've had no complaints, of course, from the Danish international or about the Danish international. Here's Cantona, who worked that so well to line it up for Giggs. Keane. Whittingham with the tackle. Parker. Kanchelskis. Small again, stopping the supply. Well, how Aston Villa ruining that one moment when they almost had too many players back in their own penalty area. It deflected off Earl Barrett into Cantona's path for a straightforward chance, which is looking more and more as though it's going to decide the game. Ince.
Chasing an equaliser. We made all the way back, all the ground back into his own penalty area.
It's always going to be a tough game, we expected that. But all credit to the lads, they've stuck in.
Calculation, the game should have been finished maybe 20-30 seconds beforehand. But in terms of, what do you call it, spectator enjoyment, you know, 3 goals now, I don't know what, a minute or something? A minute and a half, something like that, yeah. Well, that's what we want, isn't it?
Well, a great Christmas present early for you there, 3 more points.
It's a good start.
Well done, Alex. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? They loaded the midfield, but we didn't worry about that. 3-1 to Manchester United, 16 shots, 9 on target, 9 from Villa, 3 on target, and he forced 1 corner in the 90 minutes, Aston Villa. But much better percentage of the play in that second half. 50-50. We're joined here by Sammy McElroy and Peter With, and we'll have words in a moment. But first of all, those talkback lines are open. 0839 444 590. 0839 444 590. Jonathan Pearce is waiting to hear from you. And coming up, immediately, talkback. And then at 7 o'clock tonight, Rugby League from the Big League. It's Featherstone Rovers against Lee. And at 9 o'clock, snooker, the European Open final. Stephen Hendry against Ronnie O'Sullivan, the new teenage sensation of the sport. Here are Sammy McElroy and Peter With. Well, Sammy, you got it right then, but...
I'm glad you said that, Richard, because I wanted Peter actually to say it, you know. The second half, I mean, it wasn't a great second half. Villa had a load of possession, but they didn't really hurt United. And until the last few minutes, I mean, it really got exciting. And Cantona, for me, was different class in the way he finished off. Villa, tremendous player.
You see that scoreline, Peter, 3-1. Does that tell the whole story of the match?
I think it's a true reflection of the game, to be fair. I mean, they were 3-1 better side. The difference really is that Cantona, they've put a man-for-man marking situation. I watched Earl Barrett mark Chris Waddle against Sheffield Wednesday, and he didn't really give him a kick in that game, and Chris Waddle sort of just drifted in there, whereas Cantona was involved in everything. He just drifted into positions, and the goal that he scored at the end, I mean, when he's gone through and finished that, just shows you the class of the man, really. And keeping your balance, and that's what he done superb.
18 for Cole.